So you should be able to mute everybody and everything.
Got it. Got it. Hello, welcome to book club of chapter 9 of The Charge, which has been amazing, and it's the Drive for Challenge. So this was probably the perfect chapter for me to host because I've always been very driven and very willing to meet a challenge head on. So it started early on with just running and academics in high school and probably earlier than that, and then moving on to PT school, which is just a competitive time of life, and definitely challenging and definitely worth it, where he talks about in this chapter about climbing Mount Everest and being able to get to the top and hug the person that you did that with. Like, we did that with about 33 people, I think. Jackie's on here. She can put that in the comments. But, and we were all able to say, woohoo, we did it. You know, it was pretty awesome. And that's just so true. You know, if we do a challenge that isn't as challenging, a goal that isn't as challenging, then we aren't going to have as much. Hold on, let's do this. I don't know. Sorry. It should be on speaker view, right? Gallery view? I don't know. Speaker view. Speaker view?
It's yeah, speaker view.
Does it have me
show? Yeah, speaker view, and then you just see yourself.
I just see you.
Or me.
Hi. So anyway, I'm just going to jump in. We're going to just roll with it. The Drive for Challenge. I love that the chapter starts out where he's talking about a movie star being afraid to go after that next show and run with her idea. And that she was afraid even though she was already very successful and established. And I like that shows that even people that we deem successful even struggle with this, like getting out of their comfort zone and going after that next step and that next real big challenge. It just really shows that she is just a normal person anyway. And for him to also, it was kind of interesting because he's like, I really want to say something to her. I really should encourage her and like challenge her to go for it. But, you know, here I'm invited here as a guest. So I feel like, I don't know if I should say anything. And then he just realized if I don't say something, then I wouldn't be fulfilling my mission and my purpose in life. And so he went for it. And, I think that's so true. Like, you know, it happens in our business where we're like, oh, what will people think? Or I just don't know, that might be too big of a goal. And we put a lot of doubt in our own heads. And, you know, it just shows that we need to read Switch on Your Brain again and the magic of thinking big. But it also shows that is human nature and that's something that we can change and work on. And then where he was hesitant, I mean, how many times have you walked away from someone and gone, I should have told them about Plexus. I should have asked them if they can have considered gut health. I should have at least gotten their information, you know, and I've done that. I've walked away from people and gone, I should not have walked away because I was hesitant or something just held me back. And so, you know, realizing that, no, I was created to do this. And, you know, we were created to do this. We wouldn't be sitting on this call if we didn't believe that. And so putting ourselves out there on that limb, it's okay. Like, we need to continue to do that. So he also talks about real change and growth on 167. So I love this. So he was talking about, I'll feel horrible because as much of it's your artistry, this is my artistry, encouraging and challenge others to go for their dreams. So you have a vision and a dream, and don't let it die in the daylight. Fight for it. Don't do it because it's safe or to please others. Do it because it burns in your gut to do it. If you're going to play it safe, then you might as well retire now and play golf with the rest of the fat old white men crowd in Hollywood. That was him talking to the actress. But I just thought that was really, really inspiring, and we can so apply that to our lives and what we have set out to do with this opportunity with Plexus. But also I think we can apply it to other areas in our lives as moms, as workers in our jobs, or whatever it is. So that is pretty cool too. And then I really love that he addresses the idea that this busyness that we have of just, you know, taking a shower, commuting to work, getting the kids where they need to be, making food, grocery shopping, all of this busyness, it makes us feel like we're too busy to go after that next challenge, and it leads to procrastination. And like that is a lot of our stressors. Our stressors is not actually doing the work, but our stressors are the procrastination and the things that we make ourselves busy. Sorry about that. So checking off our to-do list is not a challenge. Folding the laundry is not a challenge. Cooking a meal is not a challenge. These are things that we do day in and day out, and it might be a challenge to get 4 kids, single parenting, in bed by a certain time. That's a challenge, but it's doable. And it isn't a true like internal like, wow, I accomplished this huge thing. It's like, whew, that happened, good, you know. So getting through the maintenance of our lives and moving on and focusing on true challenge is super important. And it's so true. Like when we feel stress or whatever, it's usually because we've brought it upon ourselves. I think, Fallon, you talked last week about how you would stay up too late, and then you're like, why are you guys waking me up so early in the morning? You know, and it's a stressor that we kind of put on ourselves. And I do that with other things like, oh, okay, let's get distracted by cleaning behind the couch. No, like, don't get distracted by cleaning behind the couch. Nobody's even looking back there. Like, leave it alone and focus on what we need to focus on. Use your time wisely, and not procrastinating. And how many times do we talk about that? Just a little bit of work is going to inspire us to do more and keep the ball rolling. So I really like that he brought that up, that our stress we bring on ourselves. Challenge is the pathway to engagement and progress in our lives. And this is so true. Like, I could read that and say, go to sleep. You know, like if we went to bed thinking about just that statement, then we would think of ways that we can continue to move forward in our lives and what true challenges are. A true challenge is singularly focused. You can't multitask through it. You can't be, you know, talking on the phone and writing a book and da-da-da-da. Like, you really need to focus on that one thing. And through that focus, we're going to move forward and actually engage in that challenge. We're going to be physically present. We're going to be mentally present, and just setting ourselves successfully up in our day to make sure that that happens is really, really important. So, you know, getting rid of distractions that we can, setting aside time and saying, no, like, this is my time. I told the kids tonight before my husband got home, you may not talk to me anymore tonight, which sounds terrible, but at the same time, like, I have just spent the last 5 hours only with them, not on my phone, spending time with them, doing activities, doing jobs, whatever, with them. So you know what? Now what? We're done. Like, you will no longer be a distraction. I'm controlling that distraction in my life so that I can be successful with my evening and with my time. And sometimes it's hard, but it's a really, really important skill that we need in all areas of our lives. If you work outside the home, if you're homeschooling, like, I can't even imagine the rabbit trails that you could end up going down if you're homeschooling. So saying, no, this is not happening now. This is, and staying focused on that is so important. Stretching our efforts and capabilities. Oh my goodness, this is so amazing. So we need to set a stretch goal. I think I did a post on this not too long ago. I did a video actually earlier this month, and setting a stretch goal. Setting something that's going to be a little bit challenging for us, because it's not going to be as rewarding if it's easy to accomplish. It isn't going to be something that we feel if we aren't stretching ourselves, then is it really a challenge? No, it's not. It's like, you know, these really, really talented academic kids, and they just bust out with reading and math and whatever. Are they challenged? No. And then they have behavioral issues or something, right? It's the same thing with us. We want to make sure that what we're setting forth to do is stretching us a little bit out of our comfort zone at a time, so that we can see that true growth in ourselves and around us. And then he was saying, which I despise video games, but that was his example of video games and how each level gets a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder, and how people just really thrive on that. And I don't identify with video games specifically, but I do academically. So, you know, in high school, I definitely strove for that. Like, okay, like if I take this class, then next year I can take this one, and then I can take this one. And that helped me be successful to get a doctorate degree by the time I was barely 24, I think. Barely 24, getting a doctorate degree. I earned my bachelor's and doctorate in 5.5 years after high school. Like, that didn't just happen. That means that I was in tears sometimes thinking of how difficult it was to study for 12 different things at the same time. So again, Jackie, yes, there she goes. We put a comment in there. So for sure. And so I've said so many times to my coach, to Rochelle, to Debbie, yes, this is an amazing business. This is not difficult. This is not hard. It is a challenge, and it is important. And there are those stretch things, but it's communicating with people. It is building relationships with people. It is helping people be successful with their products and sharing this opportunity with their friends and family and doing it again and again. You know, the challenge that comes out of some of it is that stuff that we put in ourselves. Oh, what are they going to think of me? Which leads me to my next point of this social failure is very, very uncommon. So something that people worry so much about, well, I'm not going to post about that on social media. I'm afraid of what people will think, doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's very, 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 very uncommon. And it's something that holds people back day in and day out from going for it and going after their goals and dreams. So that is not okay. You know, we want to talk through that. We need to stop putting these mental things in our own way, get out of the way, get over yourself, and move forward. So I think the biggest challenge sometimes is just scheduling our distractions away, getting rid of them, and to get our work done, get our IPA done, build our relationships, and do the work. Just like the call last night where these women were talking about their different work schedules and their different things, but that they were able to fit these things in to be successful around their lives. And we can all do that. We can all figure out a way to make that happen. Anyway, when we see a challenge that has a little bit stronger ability each time, so when we see that progress, it's really encouraging, like running. So when you start running, you can run a 1/4 mile and you think you're going to die. And then you do that a few times, and now you can run a 1/2 mile and you didn't die. You know, you don't feel that same awfulness. And then you get to 3/4 mile. Like, you build it up and you see the progress and you see the change. And that's so rewarding internally. And then it helps us to want to do more of that. Satisfying challenges allow for a sense of completion. Doing the laundry is not a satisfying challenge unless you plan. I see our one friend, was it Jay Morgan? You were folding your laundry. So that is awesome. I'm jealous. But laundry is something that isn't done. This is not a satisfying reward, because laundry is never done unless everyone in your household is running around naked and no one's taken a bath or a shower. There's no towels, there's no laundry, there's no nothing. And that's just not appropriate, and it's not going to be ideal. So the laundry is not a rewarding challenge. This isn't something we put on our goal list, okay? Because it's an unsatisfying goal. It never is done. Challenges allow for sharing of experience and achievement. Yes. Okay. We have convention. We have leaders retreat. We have the earning the special dinners and the galas and the gift cards for the Plexus store, all of these great rewards. Even Plexus sending the Jules these amazing gifts. I've been seeing that on Facebook, you know, oh, look at what Plexus sent me, my company, you know, my company used to give us a pie. I don't even think that they're not even doing that the last couple of years. However, they are donating to charity, which I think is a better use of their gift anyway, but that's an aside. But then there's Hawaii, there's the Plexus Lexus, and doing this with our friends is so amazing. As you can tell, I am a blue. So definitely these goals and challenges that we get to achieve with Plexus are so rewarding in that way. And then just really quick, just making sure that we're focusing on the journey. So our goal does not change. Our goal is diamond, and that goal doesn't change. Our time frame may have to be adjusted as we travel through this journey, but you know what? We have to be excited about where we've come and how we have stretched ourselves in ways that we never thought that we would have. Or if you're new to this, you will get through so much and look back and go, wow, that I can't even believe that I did that. So we oftentimes, or a lot of times, we are trained to work for that extrinsic reward. If I study hard, I'll get an A on the test. If I get an A on the test, I'll get an A in the class. If I get an A in the class, I can take this next one the next time. I can get into a good college, get a good college degree, get a good job. It's all extrinsic. It's all extrinsic. You know, I think I've said on other calls before, I can be the best PT in the whole dang hospital, and my reward, so to speak, my paycheck is the same as a mediocre PT. I'm not saying that we have that situation. I'm saying that that's how it works in the real world, right? I could do 10 continuing education classes a year, and it's still the even playing field. Where in something like this, and frankly, I love changing lives with this opportunity so much, but it also, there is more of a reward that we see, but also the reward that I feel has been really, really exciting. Like I go to bed going, okay, I helped someone today. That was really, really good. And I have that opportunity. I get to do it in my job and my Plexus job. So that's even more awesome. But a lot of times people will get disappointed that there wasn't more hype and external congratulations for the work that we're doing. You know, yes, we celebrate IPA and being consistent and stuff, but that isn't necessary. And Rochelle will tell you when she started, that wasn't a thing. Like there wasn't a lot of these IPA chats and things like that. It was more like that was just the work that she did. And yes, she got the reward to see her business growing, but it wasn't like, oh, you get a prize, you know? Anyway, so instead of focusing on this, I'm getting this extrinsic reward, just that eventually will lead to waking up and just feeling burnt out and dead inside. But we want to focus on the journey, and that will help us feel rewarded. And when we go to bed, know that we did a good job that day and that week. So anyway, that is what I had prepared. Please, I'm so sorry for keeping you delayed with the technical difficulties. And I know Rochelle's team is probably staying on this call and not breaking off. So anyway, yes. Guys can jump in if you have anything that stood out to you in the chapters and all of that.
I would definitely agree with you. Plexus, it just the way the whole system works, it keeps that drive for challenge alive, which is why it's addicting and it's fun. And after nearly 6 years in the business, it's not boring or mundane ever, like ever. And as I was reading this chapter, I love being a mom. I love doing laundry. I love taking care of my kids. I actually love cleaning. I love everything that goes with except for germs and sickness. But I love everything else. And Plexus was something that gave me a challenge and made me feel alive again, because it just felt like I literally would say every night, I'm like, I feel like I just did this yesterday. Like every day was the same. I was just buried in diapers and laundry, and after nap time comes dinner time and then bedtime, and there was like no thrill other than it's cute the baby learned to walk, but there was no challenge. There was no real challenge other than raise smart kids so they can get good jobs and feel successful. It's so different. So I love that Plexus gave me a challenge, and there's always something different, like something they need to help somebody with, help them through detox, help them rank up, or why is this person stuck, how can I help them? And I love it. I think Plexus is the perfect challenge to give us that love for life again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. I was working full time, and I had a 1-year-old. So I had 1, 3, 5, and 7-year-olds when I started Plexus, and my husband was finishing school. And so I literally worked, and I came home and I did dishes and I did laundry and I put kids to bed, because he would have the kids when I was at work, but then he would need to go study and do the stuff. He was like finishing up his degree, and he was still involved with church stuff. So it was like I was a mom and I went to work, and I loved like Emmeline, my fourth just cherished so much everything, because by 4 I felt like I actually knew what I was doing, and like I was pretty sure she was my last, but now I'm really sure she's my last. But at that time I was like, and I loved it. I loved changing. And all of them, the first couple you're still kind of like, oh, I'm gonna break them, but after that I was like, let's do this. And I didn't volunteer, I didn't do Bible studies with people, I didn't do ministry. Here's my husband, he gets to go do ministry and stuff, and I'm at home, and we always did ministry together when we were first dating and married. But I was working and being a mom and grocery shopping and keeping things respectfully clean. And when I started Plexus, I would put them to bed and I would be like, oh, let me get on here and talk to some people. And it was like, I prayed like and I still pray, like, who needs this? Who can I help? And so that was really amazing to be able to have a ministry, but still be in my bed on my computer or my phone. And, just learning and meeting people that I never would have met otherwise. So it's been such a huge blessing and huge thing for me. And it's just really exciting. And I love my job and I love what I do. And I work in a hospital. So, sometimes we get a lot of like, why does this patient need PT right now? Like, they don't, but we still go through the whole thing to make sure, because the doctor's ordered us. And so that it can tend to get a little bit mundane doing that over and over again, but I love all the medical stuff and I love talking to people at work and I love meeting people and talking to my patients. So it really isn't like terrible. It's not like I'm on a line or an assembly line, just be doing something completely repetitive because I'm with people. But definitely I loved that Plexus gave me that like way to get out without getting out. And I know that was probably huge for you too, Fallon, because you said, I remember your story when you started, it was like home, a billion kids, and not able to, they didn't all have shoes. Like they didn't all have shoes, so you couldn't even go out of the house.
Yeah, 100%.
I loved where it talked about like how, being busy is different with the whole stress thing. Is being busy is different than being challenged. I hear a lot of people running around like a chicken with their head cut off, and they're here blaming because they're trying to work this second business. And I'm like, no, this is not the problem. It's because you're trying to do all the things. And it even here, he's like, I'm here to tell you to rise above the mundane murmur of what they want you to do with your life. Yeah, okay. Someone thinks all my kids need to be in all these sports and I'm going to take them everywhere. And then I'm stressed out because I'm trying to do everything, but you just can't do everything. And you're not stressed because of, the challenges. You're stressed because of being busy and making yourself that way. That's what I've come to when I was it was I think it was last year. I was running around busy. I was going to MOPS. I was doing all these things because I felt like I needed to do that to make new connections and to get out of my house and all this stuff. And I was so busy and I was so stressed. And when I let go of trying to do all the things, my life got so much less stressful. And that was the only thing that changed. And I'm still able to homeschool and get up and get ready and all that. And I don't feel stressed about it. So I thought that was really interesting.
It was really, really good point. And it was really good probably for women to hear, you know, because I think that we put a lot of demands on ourselves to go to MOPS and take them to this play group and do that and this and that and the other thing, where like my husband is funny because he'll just say like, no, we're not doing that. And he doesn't, and here I'm like losing sleep over stuff like that, you know, not anymore so much, but he's like, no,
Thank God.
Yes. Too much for our family. That's too much for what this situation is. And he doesn't feel bad about it. Like he just says no and then moves on. And here, you know, we as women need to read a book that tells us don't get caught up in being busy.
I know. Someone wanted me to make these French macarons for a baby shower last spring, and Guthrie's like, and that was right after I hit senior Ruby, so he's probably really annoyed with me after all that. But because you guys know how that can be. But he was like, "You're gonna say no, right? Because you've met these people twice, and they don't matter right now." And I'm like, I was thinking I could. He's like, say no. I'm like, okay, I'll say no. It's just so hard to say no, but once you do, it's kind of freeing a little bit.
I have had no trouble saying no ever. Like I listened to a lot of like audio CDs and personal growth stuff back when my kids were really young, and at the time my former husband would want to do all of these things, and I said, you know, right now I just have these kids. I can't. My goal in my life is to raise these babies, not to entertain everybody and their sister and their mother. Like I can't even handle life with 5 kids under the age of 5, let alone adding more to my plate. And so I was listening to our pastor's wife, and she said, just say thank you, but no, that is not best for my family. And so I've just had it in my mind ever since. It's like, no, that's just not what's best for me right now. And I think you have to live, you can get so caught up in all the busyness, even of ironing clothes instead of just folding them and putting away, the petty things that just don't matter, like leaving kids' hats and socks on the floor right now, like I am. I think you have to set goals. Like he said, he's always felt alive every day of his life because he set goals. Like whatever the goal is, to give, to fund an orphanage, to you get a degree, no matter what age you are, to set those goals and to challenge yourself every day, not just say yes to all the little things that fill up your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to look back at the end of your life and be like, I don't feel like I accomplished anything. Whether it's the goal of reading 1 book a month, I mean, that can be a challenge. That's not a mundane thing. That's something that is going to challenge you. You can celebrate it. It's all of the things he says.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Also, I loved when you were talking about how he just was talking about like how good it feels to get the work done and to like kind of conquer those challenges. I mean, it's such a good feeling. Like I think me and Fallon were just talking about this. We were like, it feels so good to just be working and doing what we know we want to do, because a lot of the stress is thinking about what you need to do, but you're not getting it done. So then you're stressed. So you're thinking about how you're stressed that you're not getting it done or whatever. But I mean, it's just, yeah, I really loved this. It was so good.
That was a good, this whole book has been really, really good. And then every chapter I'm like, oh, this is the best chapter, you know, every time I read a new one, but it definitely is amazing. And then like I have the book on Audible, so I'll put it on Audible and then I go back and read it. And that's been super amazing too, to really let it sink in. And then I'll even go back and like re-listen to stuff. So that's cool.
That is so true, what Jackie just said in the comments on page 177. I love the excerpt from Theodore Roosevelt's book, or his speech, whatever that was. But it says, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. It's like those people laughing in the sidelines when they're doing nothing. Like, they are not the man in the pit who is covered in blood, sweat, and tears, who is putting no effort in. They are the one laughing in the sidelines. This is so good. There is no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds? Like, the one who is out there striving and working. The timid and cold souls who know nothing of victory nor defeats. That was so good.
That
like, I just
quote,
had to stop there.
That quote is like everything. That it's also in Brene Brown's Daring Greatly quote. The part where it says, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. Like, so good, which is also just like an amazing book. I loved that part. So good. I also really love the part talking about like the fear of rejection. I mean, my phone died, and so I like hopped back on, so I don't know if we've talked about that yet.
Jackie mentioned it in the chat.
Okay.
She has
Just
weird
starting,
where
Natalie.
she lives, so go for it, Natalie.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is huge. This part about like the fear of rejection, how he talks about like most people have only been like significantly rejected max of 7 times, and everyone else can attest to, you know, like 1,000 of encouragements in their life. And so how we can't let the fear of rejection hold us back, because it, like, true rejection doesn't happen that frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he said, even if so he says, so the things holding us back from taking on bigger challenges in life barely ever happens, which is rejection. Even if it happened 100 times by the time we were 40 years old, would that still be enough to convince you to quit taking risks, expressing yourself, going for it? Not me. And like, just this whole part, he said, on the road to your destination, who and what are you going to pay attention to? The 7 or 8 mean people, or the thousands of cheers and encouragements you've received that are now lining your path to progress? You choose. Which reminded me of something that I was telling a girl on my team, and I always say, when it comes to feeling rejected, you know, when somebody says something or whatever, I always say how people react to you says everything about them and nothing about you. And yeah, like, it's kind of like it's like rejection is almost a choice. Like, you can choose to be rejected, or you can just be like, wow, that just really says a lot about them and nothing about me. You know, that's kind of like my go-to, like, fail safe in feeling rejected. Like, wow, you didn't like that I followed up with you? What's going on inside of you, you know? And so, yeah, I think that whole part about rejection is just like super, super, super huge. And
it's, you know, if we let something like that hold us back, then what about all these amazing people that have been helped so much, you know? Like, you know, I have had a lot of, my changes are not like, you know, but I have way less migraines. I have way better cycles, like so many little things, and they weren't little, but, you know, I didn't have the, like, I never slept and now I sleep like a baby. Like, I always slept like a baby. I feel more rested now, but I just hit my head on the pillow, I'm out. You know, that wasn't the issue. But for someone that hasn't slept in like 10 years, that was, I think, Lauren. She hadn't slept. Like, she just didn't sleep. And I can't even imagine how terrible that would feel all the time. And now she can sleep. Like, if someone had let the fear of rejection hold them back, then, you know, so many of these amazing stories, we wouldn't have these testimonials. And honestly, it leads back to, too, like, if you're a Christian, like, we shouldn't hold back feeling rejected because somebody doesn't want to hear about something. You know, we hold ourselves back so much. And that, you know, the positive affirmations every day, and reading books like this, and talking to each other to continue to feel charged up and to continue to move on is so important, you know. Like, who wouldn't want to be a part of something so amazing? You know, I see that all the time. Like, well, I just, you know, all these excuses. Like, someday you're going to wake up and go, what did I do with my life? Well, I went to work every day for 40 years, you know, and I've had so many patients, and their goal was to leave a legacy, and they did, because they worked 60 hours a week at a GM factory on the line and put their body through so much. And it was such a different time. You know, they didn't have this opportunity that we do necessarily. You know, this wasn't a thing then, to do network marketing, to share amazing products, you know. And so they did the best that they could. And what drove them to get up every day and go do some painful, like boring, repetitive, and physically hard job every single day was this drive to leave a legacy for their family, to allow their children to go to college, to move out of the bad neighborhood into a better neighborhood. That was their goal. And we offer that too from a phone. Everyone has a smartphone. You can go to McDonald's and sit in the parking lot and get your free Wi-Fi. So there are no excuses why we can't help people have that legacy too, because the GM jobs are not what they used to be. It doesn't happen. I mean, I'm in Flint, Michigan, so I talk to a lot of people in Flint, Michigan. That's what we are dealing with. They're shutting down plants. They're closing things. They are, you know, the auto industry changes, and I think GM now is laying off like 8,000 employees before they even hit a bad part. Plexus is not going to lay off 8,000 of us. Absolutely not. You know, it isn't going to happen. And they're just trying to be proactive. Like, how awful is that? You know what I mean? Like, so these people that are my patients that are in their 80s that worked, you know, all those years on the line, all this overtime, their kids and grandchildren do not have that opportunity. So it's just, now we have a very amazing opportunity, and we should not be quiet about it.
Especially not for fear of rejection.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I liked how he said that these are the weak people, you know, who can sense a surge of power only by preying on, you know, the weakness of others. So basically, your haters are the weak ones. I mean, there it is. He said it.
I think we already knew that.
Yeah, we already knew that for sure. Tony Robbins says that, like, one of the 6 human needs is significance, and he said you can get significance by tearing people down, and you'll feel significant by that, or you can get significance by growing your own empire, by doing the hard things. But guess what? It's a lot easier to tear people down and to get that sense of significance. And so that's something that I've been thinking about lately, because I've definitely had people tear me down, you know, and things like that. As I'm, you know, marching to the mountaintop, it says you mustn't let your dreams die just because someone takes aim at you as you march to the mountaintop. And it's much easier to quit and criticize than keep marching. But it's better. It's a better road that we're on, y'all.
Well, and a lot of times people, they reject us or they're haters because they don't want to see us successful, because they're not going to be. And sometimes they don't want to get healthy, and sometimes they can't stand the positivity that we all have. Do we want to change that? No. So we shouldn't feel bad when they're hating on us. I mean, it really is like, people who are jealous and can't say anything nice, typically it's because they see something in you that they want, and they just can't, they're not making the choice to work for it or make a change. So they do what you guys just said. They feel better to nitpick and to hate on you, and it makes you feel awful that they're doing that. And I know from experience, because I've had this happen to me, but that person, they don't really ever truly feel good by destroying somebody. when they're hating on me or you or whoever, it just shows they are the weaker person. And you cannot bring yourself down to their level to allow their rejection to stop you. You're going to stay right there where they are instead of rising above where they're afraid that you're going. And that's what it is. They're afraid that you're going to amount to something and they're not. And I've had people tell me that too. So this is definitely what people's issue is. And sometimes they choose to overcome it. And they're like, yeah, this is why I hated you. I have literally had people come to me and say, I hated you.
I heard it.
And now Courtney's heard them. And now they come to me for coaching because what happened was they really just wanted what I had, but they didn't think that they could have it. So people who are mean to you, it's not you. It's them and themselves.
Seeing you do well reminds them of their own stagnancy, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever not liked somebody, like, and you couldn't really put like your finger on it. A lot of the time it's because they remind you of something you don't like in yourself or something you don't like in somebody else. So seeing other people do well, they're stagnant. They might not like that. And honestly, if you don't have any haters, you might not be doing it right. I'm so serious. I'm really, really serious. Like, people are gonna need to not like you. Look at Jesus. I'm just saying.
People who can't overcome the fear of rejection, or well, I should say they need to overcome it and get over it. It's over because it comes on hot and heavy when you're diamond. I mean, I hear the judgments all the time. You get this kind of paycheck, every move you make is wrong. Everything. I mean, unless they see me in sackcloth and ashes, then I'm not, a good person. They're just so mean. Like they think I don't take care of my kids and I just work all day, which isn't even true. Just the craziness. I just can't even.
People are gonna hate you if you're rich. They're gonna hate you if you're poor. They just, yeah. But I loved the 30-day challenge thingy. Because it's funny because I just started my own challenge of waking up at 5 a.m., which some of the people on this call probably have heard about today because I love it so much. And I feel great. So that's my challenge this month, is to keep that up because it is a challenge for me to get out of bed normally. So.
Yep. I love where he said to celebrate when, oh my gosh, I don't even know where I underlined this, but I remember in here, he was talking about enjoying the journey. It's not the destination. You're going to get frustrated if you don't enjoy the small things and the small wins on the way to the destination. You have to live for the journey. It's right there, page 174. Focus on the journey rather than the destination. And that is so true. I've always wanted to do public speaking, but my challenge right now is the next month for Super Saturday, and I literally feel sick to my stomach thinking about it because it's a huge challenge for me and I want to do well. But reading this, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how good I think I did. It's a part of my journey getting me to where I want to be. And it was just like empowering and so freeing to think of that. Y'all, I'm good at videos, but that's because I have my water and my music or whatever. But when I get up there and I'm like trapped and I can't go to the bathroom or I can't eat if I'm hungry or what the heck ever, it makes me nervous. So again, we all have our things, but enjoying the journey, because even if your journey is to get to diamonds, if that's your destination, once you get here, it's not over. You have to still enjoy all of the little processes that go along with it. Otherwise, you're going to get to diamond and be like, well, like what next? You're just going to sit there. And it won't feel good if you didn't celebrate all the little things on the way. I still say Ruby was my favorite rank because that was my first goal. My first big goal was to be Ruby because that meant I could make enough money to live off of. And I really celebrated it. It made me so happy.
That is good. That is awesome. My goal was Ruby, just because I'm like, I am a Ruby. I'm a Ruby. And now I am a Ruby. I'm like, and then I was typing up the invitation today, like typing up the little graphic, and I almost wrote Senior Ruby, Eilers-Heffner, Senior Ruby. And I'm like, wait, I'm not Senior Ruby yet, but I am Senior Ruby because that's where I'm going, you know? And it's like, okay, you know, I'm Senior Ruby. This is cool. And then, yeah, so it's just, yeah, it's totally one of those things where you have to just keep thinking what the next thing is. And, you know, my kids are like, well, when you're diamond, can we get a dog? And I'm like, yes, when I'm diamond, we can get a dog because you'll all be old enough to take care of that thing for real. And if you're not, it's going away or whatever, you know, like I just feel like by then it'll be like, yeah, you can not have whatever you want because I don't want spoiled children. But it's like, stop talking to me about it now. So when I'm diamond, yeah, you can get a dog. I can't believe I said that. They're so going to hold that to me or hold me to that. But it's fun. It's just fun to think about, like, I don't know. I never thought I would do all of this. Like, I was like, I'm going to be a PT and I'm going to work with kids. And then someday I'm going to teach and I'm going to have my own kids and I'm going to be a mom. And it's just, that's what I always envisioned my life to be. I never thought of like building and a legacy, building something so huge, you know? So anyway, all the dog, Lauren, yes, get the dogs. Ugh, no.
You're going to regret it when you hit diamonds because it's going to happen sooner than you think. I made my kids like these crazy promises for when I hit diamond. And then I'm like, okay, you guys, we just need to wait on this a little bit longer.
Diamond? I meant double diamond.
Oh no, honey, I gotta hit diamond all over again for that to happen. And I want to say, you know, I loved, you know, just that if this wasn't a challenge for us and if this was just some mundane thing, it wouldn't feel so good once we did get to where we want to be. Because if you don't have any challenges in life, like he said, you know, like it's just you're going through the motions and it's just not exciting. And there's just nothing more exciting than, you know, getting to where you want to be and then looking for what's next. And I feel like that's probably, maybe he already said that or something, like that's part of living that charged life. It's like always looking for that challenge and something to be excited about. And that's when people stop growing and they are just like, you know, not good.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. I think you guys have all probably seen someone that's like ranking up and doing well and like they have these amazing posts on Facebook, you know, and then you see like them welcoming people and pink power all the time. And then like all of a sudden it's like they just dropped off the face of the earth. And I'm like, what happened to so-and-so? Like they were doing well. Like people that I kind of started with, you know, and we were ranking up kind of at the same time. And then like, boom, all of a sudden they're just gone. And I'm like, do you realize what you're walking away from? Like you don't realize what you're walking away from or you wouldn't have done it. You know, you would not have walked away. But like, did they get caught up in this like busyness? You know, what stalled them? And so I think this is so important, these accountability of being on book club and being able to talk and being able to inspire one another and share different takes on what we're reading and stuff to really solidify it in our minds is just so, so important so that we can continue to go after that challenge. And when, you know, you have a day, you're like, oh my goodness, you know, like what is going on, you know, like, and it's true. Like it's usually a day where you get caught up, at least for me, in the busyness. Like I got to do the laundry and I haven't swept the floor in 3 days. Like that's disgusting, like whatever, you know, and you just have to let it go and know that when you're diamond or even sooner, I mean, I have a housekeeper twice a month right now because I'm still working full time. And it's like, I want my house to be clean, but I don't want to do it. I want to message my people. I want to be on book club. I want to do this. And so I've had to make those sacrifices and change how things operate in order to reach this challenge of running a business, you know? It's probably good that Rochelle's not on because then we would be here all night long. Can you imagine?
Yeah, don't come to my house either. I've skipped working out all week so that I could clean my house, and while I'm cleaning, I'm doing coaching calls. So I'm getting a lot of coaching calls in, which is great, but I need a housekeeper.
My housekeeper is amazing, but I think your commute's a little far. Yeah, I was looking at my house today, and like, I am not a decorator. Courtney, you need to come over and just do it. Like, I need to hire you. I'll babysit your kids. I'll homeschool them. We'll do it during the summer. And you can just fix all of this because I don't know what to do. We painted when we moved in 7 years ago. And now I'm like, oh, I want to change it all, but I don't want to do it. I just want it to all be different.
Just stalk Instagram and Pinterest and figure out what you like, and I'll help you.
No, I got to get retired from my other job before
No,
I
girl,
figure out
do
all of
Too
not
busy
that.
working to worry.
You
Sounds
don't
gonna
look
say
at
get to diamond.
Pinterest or Instagram until you're diamonds, okay?
Exactly.
You don't have time for
Told
it.
you she would say that.
Well, it's true. It's a rabbit trail. It's like Pinterest. You get on Pinterest, then you look, and I don't even get on Pinterest anymore because it's like, oh, I'm gonna look for a recipe. I have this chicken in the fridge. What am I gonna do with it? And then an hour later, I still haven't found a recipe. No, I don't.
I know.
No.
And I
Like-
hear so many people thinking that, I know there are people who are ADHD or whatever, and I have friends who actually have this problem, but then I have these other friends who are trying to say they do because they've heard this now, and I'm like, I could say I have that because I've been over here trying to order groceries for 3 hours, and I keep getting distracted. And I think it's just part of life. We got to be more disciplined, and just if we're thinking about doing it, just don't do it. If I just can't even get on. I don't get on Pinterest. I don't do it. Fallon had me get on there. I was like, this is a bad idea. It's bad enough I'm on Instagram. And it's bad enough that Facebook has advertisements now all over the place when you're looking for a dress for an event, because then you're dress shopping when you're trying to work.
Yeah, I think it's just self-discipline again. Like if something came to my mind and something I wanted to do like that when I was trying to work, I would write it down in my planner to do it on the weekend. Like, I did not suddenly find myself Christmas shopping, or I was very planned out. Like, this is weekend stuff. I'm not suddenly painting my nails or clipping nails. Like, that waited. Everything extra would wait. And even building a house, I asked Lori, like, when can I build a house? Like, I was waiting for the momentum to slow down, and it never did. So now I'm building a house, but it takes time to look at all those extra things. And I remember very clearly, I was going to make a video about this, but I asked Brittany Howard, this was when we were both gold, and I said, I'm thinking about having a garage sale to make some money, but it's so much work getting everything ready. And she's like, girl, don't have a garage sale. You can make more money if you just do Plexus during that time. And I said, that's true. And Plexus will keep paying me for the next 10 years. So I literally was thinking about every little thing. Skipped the garage sale to make a few bucks, to work my business for 5 hours, to make endless money. And I mean, it was every little thing. I would think about it in that way. So.
Mm-hmm. And that is so true. Like, it's so true because, I mean, I'm in that boat. It's like, yeah, I could list this stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and it literally only takes 3 seconds to do that. But by the time you take this whole bin of stuff and post it, like, no, forget it. Just send it to Goodwill. I don't even care. I'm not even going to take the time. There might be one thing that would be worth putting on there, but I'm not going to take the time to go through it. I don't need it. I am blessed. God is good. Give it to someone that needs it too. Just get it out of my house. And so many choices. Like, I used to shellac my own nails, and I say used to because now just to sit down even for half an hour, I don't do it because I pretty much have to be kid free. You can't do that when they're running around. Now I probably could. They're older, but it was one thing I was just like, well, no, I guess I'll paint my nails when I'm diamond. Just if I really want them done, I go get them done because it's quicker. Then it truly is like time to relax. It's set aside. And when I have something scheduled and planned, like I'm working my butt off in order to be able to go and feel accomplished and relaxed and like worthy of sitting there and relaxing. You know, that's why when I go on vacation, I am like, no, I am on vacation. I work full time. I run a business. I have 4 kids and a busy husband who's gone in the evenings too sometimes. So it's like there's so much to do. I've had to let things go, and it's okay. I'm not any worse off. I'm better off because I'm better at saying no. No.
But when you have goals,
Mm-hmm.
it don't feel like a sacrifice.
Right.
It doesn't feel like a sacrifice to skip them.
I don't know how my internet is unstable. I keep getting this.
Think TV or them if you know.
I don't know why. I have a computer guru upstairs that makes sure our internet and everything else is working top notch. So I don't know why it would be messed up.
Is this technology?
I don't know. All right. We've talked a long time. Are you guys ready to get off? Anybody else have anything to say? I have to be at work at 7. So does Lauren.
I just want to know what I see on Rochelle Osborne's screen because it looks like cat eyes with ears or something.
Is it a candle?
It's the craziest thing.
Where is Rochelle? Did I miss something? I came in late because I was doing a coaching call.
I don't know.
They were doing their little Christmas party, I think, her local team.
Oh.
I don't see her. I can't find her. Is she on still?
Well, she's got the glowing eyeballs.
I don't know. Oh.
All right, you guys, one of my goals is to go to bed on time. I wouldn't call it a challenge, but it's a goal. So
we got 20 minutes left. Gotta
time
go.
for a shower.